Hello, hello. Welcome to The Choice of a Young Voice. My name is Caroline Muche and I'm going to be your host. Now, this series is basically talking about the choices that we make as young people and how we need God to guide us each and every day to make the right choices in life. So, this particular episode, we are talking about young and healthy. I feel like those words are oxymorons. Sometimes it's hard for a young person to be healthy. How does that actually work? Most people wait till they're like 50 to start, I need to be exercising, or I need to eat well so that I don't get cancer, or, one of those things. But as a young person, why should you get healthy? Those are the questions we are going to be answering today. We have amazing guests here with us who will help us understand more about this topic about young and healthy. First of all, I'll introduce you to a noisemaker. His name is Rene Odanga. Yes, he's a lively person. I said noisemaker. I have a feeling throughout the show, you might understand why.
Okay, that's a bit of a challenge.
But he's a lively person.
I am a lively person.
Young person,
yeah,
hoping
clearly.
to be healthy one day.
Hoping to be healthy one day. Yes, not today. Yes, today.
Today you're learning.
Today, as well.
Today you're learning. Yes.
Today I'm here to learn and to learn with all of you and to enjoy the conversations that we'll have.
Yes, thank you so much for coming here and for being part of this conversation.
Me.
I'm sure with you here, it's going to be very lively, very lively.
Yes.
And our second guest today is Tabitha Ochieng. She is an amazing person, counselor, and she's here to guide us young people and tell us on ways we can be healthy. I'm so sure you want to know more and more. We have a team of young people on set here who are here to listen and learn, ask questions, and it's going to be an interactive session. So stay with us. Let's get into the heart of this topic, young and healthy. Yeah. The question we have as young people is why? Why should I get healthy at this age? I mean, I feel fine.
I feel fine.
Don't you feel fine? Don't you feel fine?
Yes.
Yeah, fine. Like, why should we be healthy now? Exactly.
Thank you, Caro. Just to start us off, I want to say that health is not just the absence of disease. It means much more than that. And so just because you don't have malaria today, just because no doctor has told you, you're having arthritis, does not mean you're necessarily healthy. And so we need to look at health in a deeper way. And this deeper way simply means that you do things right. And how are you going to do things right? Now, fortunately, God in his wisdom has given us guidelines. He has given us 8 laws of health. And if you can follow these 8 laws of health, then you know you're doing it right, you're doing your best, and now you can entrust the rest to God. So that it is not just when you're sick that you worry about health, but it should be part and parcel of your life, of your daily life. What is it that you're going to do to be healthy and remain healthy? I want to quickly say that there's this notion that when people get old, then they start having diseases. And nothing could be further from the truth than that. Because aging is a normal process. But diseases that come about because of the little mistakes we start making when we are young, so that when it gets to those ages of 60, 70, then they catch up with us.
Just as you continue explaining that,
yes.
I've just thought, but isn't it okay, yeah? You can be eating the junk food that you want at this point, then the diseases come, you become healthy to overcome the diseases because, right? Yes. Because at that point,
you need to overcome the diseases at that
disease.
So I can eat like as much chips as I want.
Yes.
And then when I fall sick, here I am with carrots and spinach.
Yeah.
Now,
it makes sense.
we will talk of deception. Deception. And why am I talking about deception? We have been so accustomed to thinking that you can do anything with your life. And then when you have a headache, you take Panadol. Now, truly, Panadol, you don't need Panadol because you have a headache. Or rather, put another way, headache does not come about as a lack of Panadol. I hope we are getting something there.
Okay.
Because
Drops mic.
what you need to do is to be sure that you don't need that Panadol anyway. Yes, do things right so that your body is okay, then you don't have to take the Panadol. Now, I'm trying to say that we shouldn't do everything so wrong, then look for a quick fix. What we need to do, because health is a lifestyle. Remember, I said it's not just the absence of disease, it's a lifestyle. And it is this lifestyle that is going to keep you healthy mentally, physically, and spiritually. That means if one aspect of it is faulty, the whole thing crumbles. So you may feel fine, but there's something wrong with your mental aspects, or there's something wrong with your spiritual aspects. And wow, why would we do anything that fails to keep us in tune with God? Now that then is a problem.
Yes. But also, Renee, I feel like you and I would agree on this. Don't doctors need jobs?
Thank you. Actually, medicine, as
You
we
know-
know, is one of the oldest professions. So if everyone were healthy, are we not putting out of market a large spectrum of the population that is quite prestigious, actually? I think a lot of people want to be doctors, and then for you to tell us to be healthy, that would mean that those people would be jobless.
Wow. So in sympathy with our doctors, we want to get sick.
Yes.
Why
And give them our money.
Doctors study for like 7 years.
7 years.
They
7
do.
years.
They do. And many of them will agree with us that one of the things they are told is that the medicines don't actually cure disease. That is in their books. It will surprise you. So they try to manage the bad conditions that we have created. Now we give them the task of helping us manage. And as we help them to manage, we give all our money. Money that we could be using for something else. Yes.
Instead of
so we
paying
need to
them.
look at that perspective. Now, further to that, yes, we need doctors. There's an accident. Broken ribs, broken legs, what? You need them at that point. But to deliberately lead a life that will lead you to be a permanent visitor at a doctor's office, surely that is not what we are here to do. No, God does not expect that of us.
Renee, are you a healthy person?
Am I a healthy person? I would say to some extent. To some extent, not completely. Just listening to her so far, I know there are things I could do different.
Yes.
I already know there are things I could do different, there are things I could do better. Because I exist on what you just mentioned. What is the work of doctors?
Exactly.
Actually, what
Like,
is the work of
I'm
doctors?
sick.
I'm sick. Okay. Oh yeah, teach me. I will abide by your. But then I've just learned that a headache does not come about because of a lack of Panadol. So I am healthy to some extent.
You are to some extent.
It could be better.
It could be better.
It could be better.
Okay.
And really, that's why we want to say a few things.
Yes.
It could be better for you, and for us all. It honestly can be better.
Yeah. And maybe we could start by telling us ways that we can be healthy as a young person. Maybe let's start with diet.
Okay.
Yeah. How can we be, what should we improve on? Because honestly, if I eat chips once a week, so that's fine.
You're looking
She
for
laughed.
confirmation?
Yes. We need you to tell us it's fine.
No,
Once
I
a
will not
week.
tell you it's fine. I will not tell you it's fine. Potatoes are fine.
Oh.
Okay.
When it gets to chips, you have a problem. Why do you have a problem? This thing has been made to swim, and swim in oil, and swim in hot oil. Now, every time you eat food that has swum in hot oil, you have a problem. because this food is denatured. What it is supposed to do in your body, it fails to do because you have changed its nature by treating it wrong.
Wow.
So actually, then it even becomes more complicated because we are told that when you heat oil, then that's a sure way of increasing carcinogens. This very oil turns into carcinogen. What do I mean by that?
Yes, please.
Cancer-causing agents.
Okay.
So we start inviting it by eating our chips once a week. And what's
Okay,
more
once in 2
is that these things, by the way, I need to quickly talk about perversion. Our appetites are perverted. So that what is really harmful to us, wow, that tastes nice. And you feel like, oh, that's what you really need.
Chocolate
And as
fudge
it
cake.
tastes nice, it is also addictive. Do we believe that chips can be addictive? In your mind, you kind of feel like before you eat it, you've not eaten anything else. So you have this compulsion to eat it. Now, that's not how we're supposed to behave with food. Food is supposed to nourish us, and nourish us not just in the mouth, but deep down to the cells. So whatever we eat, we need to be targeting those cells deep inside us. Are they getting nourished from it? Now I can start answering your questions. What are we supposed to eat? You know, I'm so excited about the fact that this food thing is in the Bible. And nearly everywhere in the Bible you will find it. But I want to just mention in Genesis, God, the master designer, creates this wonderful machine and he says, okay, this is the right fuel. And what does he give us? Fruits and nuts and seeds. Wow, is that a balanced diet? Someone will ask. Yes, it is so well balanced that if you just lived on that, you would even slow down your rate of aging.
Okay.
Wow.
Yes.
That I want.
Yeah.
That you want.
I
I
You
can
would
look like this
slow
and I'm
down.
70 years old.
Yes, you're 70 years old and you look like this.
You guys.
And I'm telling you, because
I
it
want.
came from the hands of God. And that was his design. Now, I'll tell you, about 2 years ago, there's a lady who was interviewed from the US, and that lady was actually 70. What she told us in that interview is that she had eaten raw, nothing cooked, for 27 years. And for those 27 years, it's like her age reversed. So that, yes, so that you look at her and the husband looks like a grandfather. You know?
Like her grandmother.
Yes, like
I think
her
I watched that
grandfather.
video.
You
Have
did.
you seen
yes,
it?
and the secret
Yes.
was just in eating raw.
Oh my goodness.
So, fruits, nuts, seeds. Of course, she did a lot of vegetables, and vegetables are also very good. But I want to make it clear here that vegetables came in not as the first diet that God gave us, but as a second diet. And it came in after sin came into the world. And so God said, because of sin, you're going to get sick, so you need to have these herbs, these vegetables to
Wow.
heal you.
And we're going to get right into that now. And I'm sure some of you are burning with questions.
Yes.
You want to know so much more. So when we return, we will definitely get into those questions and understand more about how we can be healthy. In fact, I'd like to play a short video about, there's a lady who says she lives her life. She has bipolar. But one of the ways that has helped her cope is by the diet. She's advising us on the diet to eat to be able to deal with some of the mental illnesses. So maybe let's
I'm
listen.
not rubbing that too much,
Yes.
but then what we want to say is you do not eat healthy, then you even risk getting those mental disorders,
Okay.
bipolar, depression, and all that. So food is so key.
Definitely.
Yes, yes.
We're going to take a look at a clip of a lady who has bipolar, and she's giving advice on how you can use diet, eating right, to be able to, live a healthier lifestyle, even for someone with these mental illnesses. So let's just take a look at some of the things that she is telling us, and then we'll go for a short break, and we'll be right back to get into the heart of this discussion.
You can try and eat correctly as well. It's important to eat foods that are more wholesome, foods that are not too processed and that don't have too many chemicals in them, because these chemicals also tend to affect your system a lot. So secondly, diet is also important. And then thirdly, if you can try and include an exercise routine into your daily lifestyle or daily everyday living, that is also very good for you, because exercise tends to eliminate or remove a lot of toxins from your system. And then it's also good for including or increasing the happy hormones for you, which will help in terms of making you a more lively or a more functional during the day.
Welcome back. We just watched a video of a young lady who has bipolar and has been dealing with it in ways that through exercising and diet, and now she's become a healthier person, and she's, you can't even tell that she has bipolar now at this period when you actually interact with her. So now let's discuss about this video that we've watched. Yeah, what do you think about some of the things that she has said?
Two very important things that came out. She's talked about exercise. Remember, I talked about 8 health principles that God has given us. Now, that's one of them. Then she has also talked about diet, a second one. And really, they work just fine. I'll say something about diet. She said it. I'll just reiterate. Our food should be natural, should be wholesome, should be as far away from processing as possible. So by the time we are talking junk, we are saying we have removed all the good things from the food, and what we have left is that junk that is made to appeal to our taste buds and yet not give us much. All right? That is what processing does.
Yeah.
Because you'll realize that natural foods, they have some tendencies. Number one, they will not keep for very long. So to be able to have these foods in the markets for so long, they need to process, they need to preserve, and all that is not for your good, to be honest. So if you can get it fresh, eat fresh, you're eating healthy.
This is interesting. This is very, I feel like it's difficult, don't you think?
I think it's difficult, and it's also, in some senses, you feel it's unrewarding, because I will explain. I promise I will explain that the use of that word. Unrewarding in the sense of, okay, so I'm eating healthy. When do I start to feel healthy?
When do you start to feel healthy?
Like
Good question.
Yeah.
Now, it's like when a mother conceives, when does she begin to feed this baby? The baby is still inside the fetus. But when does she begin to feed? Immediately conception begins, a mother should worry about this baby, the unborn fetus. Yeah, you need to worry about that. In other words, if you were living healthy from that point, you would not even have to worry about feeling unhealthy. You would be feeling fit. I know of some girls, they're twins, they were born in the US, but born when their parents had reformed. They were eating right. And so they never tasted any junk, they never tasted any sugar, they never tasted anything processed, and they grew to be very nice children. At age 3, they went home. Away from the UK, they went home, and they were exposed to mosquitoes and all. And the parents were like, what do we do? There's so many mosquitoes. Yes, they sleep under nets, but the mosquitoes still end up on them. And they were consulting their friends in the UK, and the friends said, don't worry. And for a month, they were exposed to mosquitoes, and it was only the bumps.
Okay.
Only. They did not as much as catch malaria, because they were already healthy. So when your body is
Your immune
healthy,
system is
the
boosted.
system is, your immunity is built. When the immunity is good, you do not have to worry about disease because the body fights for you. And that was God's design. Yes?
Wow.
So the feeling of being healthy should be it should be a part of you if you're doing it right.
If you're doing it right.
Yes.
If you're doing
But
it right.
if you do everything so wrong and then you want to approach it like a quick fix, so you take your spinach, and carrot
And
for
carrot
2
for
weeks,
2
and
weeks, yes.
why am I not feeling? No, that's not the right approach.
I want to feel
I want to
healthy.
feel healthy, yes. By the end of these 2 weeks.
Because it has taken a long time. There's an accumulation of toxins, of these chemicals, of all those things in your system. The body will take time to clean up
Okay.
and to boost immunity.
Okay.
This is very interesting. Are you learning a lot here? Yeah? Yeah. Who has a burning question, a challenging question to ask?
If the question is burning, is that person healthy? Okay, proceed.
Yes, please. Let's have a question. Yes, please.
Okay, I'm Lavina, and I'm loving this show.
Okay.
And so my question is that the types of food I consider to be my best appears to be topping the list of the unwanted. So can you kindly tell me the best types of food that we should eat?
Okay.
Wow, that is interesting. The best types of food for us to eat fruits. Use a lot of fruits. That is healthy. Use vegetables. And if you can include in your diet raw vegetables, that's going to help you greatly. Now, what do we get from these? We get vitamins and minerals mainly. And, I think we have something twisted so that we are made to believe we need so much starch and then we also need a lot of protein. Look at what God gave us in Genesis 1:29. Fruits, nuts, and nuts, we are told you shouldn't even eat so much of them, just like kidogo in your hands, that's good enough. And seeds. And I'm wondering how many of us actually eat seeds, So
Like
that when
you
you talk
eat a
about
seed and
pumpkin seeds, you talk about chia seeds, you talk about flax seeds, those look strange to us. And yet these are the things that we should be feeding on a daily basis. So eat that. And then if you have to, like when it gets to cereals, yes, you can eat your maize, eat your rice, eat your barley, eat your oats, but eat them in the natural state, okay? So instead of going to a supermarket to look for what has really been milled and processed, get your maize, take it to the posho mill, grind it and have your unga. Now that is more healthy than if it is already processed. Okay? So your grains, your nuts, your seeds, fruits, vegetables. Then we also have another category of proteins, really, pulses. So here is where you have your whole variety of beans. Yes. You have the peas, you have, the list is so long, But you have all this to eat from. So then you will be eating healthy.
Wow.
Okay, I think I know why people don't eat seeds though.
Why?
When we were children, we were told they would grow in our stomachs. Right?
Wait, that's true.
You were told if you swallow a watermelon seed, a watermelon will grow out of your stomach, right? Yes, so we need to change that now. We need to change
there are some
that.
things that we were told, and out of innocence and ignorance,
Ignorance, yes. Those two have
we
to go hand in
believed
hand.
them. But seeds, I'll tell you something. There's a lot of talk about omega-3, omega-6. Have you heard that?
Yes.
Yes, and then they say, you can't quite survive on a vegetarian diet. Yes, you can. And you know where you get your omega-3 and omega-6 from? From the seeds. So some of these seeds that I've mentioned, chia seeds, flax seeds, will give you those, the fatty acids, omega-3 and omega-6. And you do just fine. Look at it this way. the master designer knew what was best for us. So how can we turn around and say, this is not good enough?
Yeah.
That we are not going to get enough from this?
Yeah.
I don't quite believe that.
That's very interesting, actually. But then again, you've mentioned a vegetarian diet, yeah? So does that mean meat is unhealthy?
Does that mean meat is unhealthy? Good question. I want to say very quickly that our bodies were not made to handle meat very well. So yes, you eat meat, and science will prove this, that when you eat a meal of meat, the body needs up to 72 hours to process it. Now that's a long time. And then digestion is a system also that works in a way that you eat now, and the next time you eat something, it halts the process that was going on to deal with what has come in at that point. All right? So that means if you eat a meal of meat, you really need to keep away from eating. Maybe you just do water for the next 72 hours. Because anytime you introduce anything else, you will be interfering with the process of digestion. And when it is interfered with, then of course fermentation takes place. And when fermentation takes place, then you have other issues. Of course, you're increasing your acidity in the body, and that is not good for you. So yes, we have been brought up to know that meat is the food. But if you have to eat it,
Roasted
eat
chicken.
it like the snakes do. What is this? What is this snake that eats? And I'm told when it swallows a goat, then it takes...
stays forever.
Yes. Then we need to eat like that if we are to safely eat meat.
No, I'm a human being. I'm not taking my digestion cues from a snake. No.
And they swallow you whole.
No.
Yes, whole, like that.
Is that the wholesome you're talking about? Okay. No, it's not.
No, that's
Yes,
not
there was
it.
another question. Wow, we
Yes.
have many questions.
There are
Let's
many
start
questions.
with you, right here.
Okay, I'm Melvin Ombok. My question goes, I've been eating healthy and I've not been doing exercise, but of late I've been told I have ulcers. So I wonder where the ulcer is coming from. Yeah.
You've been eating healthy. I wish we had time so that I would go into just how healthy your feeding has been. But remember that we have the 8 laws. The 8 laws, interestingly, work more or less like the 10 moral laws that we were given. And the Bible tells us that you break one, can you be so happy with 90%? It's like you've broken them. So that's what it is with the health laws also. You may, in your view, think that you're eating healthy. But there could be something else that you're not doing right. And that's why ulcers come in. Like that something else could just be stress. I'll tell you. Yeah, you're eating right, but you're so stressed about many things. The moment you're stressed, the body produces a chemical. Is it called cortisol? Which is actually destructive to your body. So it will wear you down. And so in as much as you're eating healthy, there's another aspect that you have not taken care of. And you see, that's why I love being a Christian. Because even the element of stress has been taken care of in the Bible. So we should have no stress in our lives, really. Or we should be able to manage it. Yes, so I'm saying in short, we need to look into depth, you know, into details. Yes, you're eating healthy. How healthy? But then what other things could be contributing to this other problem, ulcers?
That's a very interesting way to look at it. At the end of the day, it's
so much. They're so related.
physical,
Interrelated.
spiritual, mental. All
of
those
them.
are connected. That's the
Emotional.
wellness.
Emotional, yes. Really connected.
Are you emotional right now?
I just want to know why kale has anything to do with whether I'm happy or sad. Do bananas actually have power to make people happy? Like, you know, those are the things that's as I said in the beginning, we're learning.
Now
we're learning.
We truly need much more time to go into that. But
yes, Let's
There are
have
many hands.
the gentleman right there. If you could pass him a microphone. Yes.
Okay. I'm Eliolo, and my question goes, when you read in Romans 14:3, the Bible says that a strong man in faith can eat anything,
Can eat anything.
while someone who is weak will only eat vegetables. Now, can you clarify that point so that I cannot misunderstand it?
Hallelujah.
Rennie, you want to say something before I do?
I want you to say something on that because it talks about eating meat. And Paul even later on says that you should not drink just milk all the time. You should also eat. You should grow into eating meat, the meat of the. Thank you.
And also to add into all that,
yes.
in the Old Testament, we've been given the list of meat that we can eat. You know?
Yes.
And I believe the Bible is an authority.
Yes.
Yeah, if he says, you know, what do they say?
They give an entire list. It's an entire list of the types of fish you can eat,
Yeah,
the
the
types of
clean
animals,
foods
the
and
clean
the
foods.
unclean
Peter
foods.
was also
Now,
called to kill and eat. So
Now, that's very important.
Yes.
Let me pick it up from Carol's question and say that if you follow keenly in the Bible, there are 5 diets. 5 diets that God gave. Now, I already talked about the first one in Genesis 1:29. In Genesis 3, when sin sets in, then God brings in vegetables or herbs, as it is called. Okay? It waited until nearly the time of the floods for God to now give his permission. Okay, you can eat meat, but, and that one came very quickly, but, and if you remember, the but in the meat was so that they don't eat it with the blood.
yes.
Yeah, and they don't eat it with the fat. All right? And remember, the Bible does not contradict itself. A lot of these questions that now we are asking have to do with a much deeper understanding of those texts. It's just not about meat that we eat. Because God would not be crazy to tell us in one point, this is the best for you, and then things change, and then it's like God discovers, oh, so I was wrong. No, that's not the God we serve. So by the time Paul is seeing the vision of all sorts of things.
Peter.
Oh, Peter,
Yes.
that's right. Seeing that vision, and there are all manner of things, and he's
Yes.
told to eat.
Kill
The
and eat.
context is
It's different.
very different. It's about the gospel. Where should the gospel go?
Yes.
You see that? So we need to have a deeper understanding of the Bible before we quote some of these texts out of context.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah. Okay. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. So, you know, sometimes we read the Bible. In fact, that gets me thinking. We read the Bible with our own motives. Like you want to
Yes, yes,
prove that
yes.
it is okay
prove.
to eat.
Like, see over here,
Yeah, over here
it
it
is written.
Eat meat. Eat meat. Thou shalt eat meat. And Jesus multiplied fish.
So I think another lesson for us to take is that when
Yes.
we are reading our Bibles, we pray for God to help us understand
Understand it in the right way.
in the right way exactly what He wants us to learn from this. We're gonna get more into that shortly. Again, we are going to break for a short period of time. I'm sure some of you are like, why should we break? The conversation is very enticing and it's quite interesting. But we'll be back to continue and learn more about how we can be young and healthy and look like this till we're 100. Wow. So stay with us, we'll be back. We are back, still discussing about young and healthy. Welcome back. My name is Caroline Muche, and right now we just want to wind it up to learn more about different ways we can be healthy. How can we be healthy dress-wise, spiritually? You know, how does all this come together, you know? So we want to understand more about that. Please advise us.
Thank you. My favorite author, Sister Ellen G. White, she says, in matters of dress, the key should be modesty. All right? Now, we may want to break down this modesty, but I like to give this example, that what we normally love to wear sometimes is really tight. Now, what happens when your clothes are very tight? You interfere with the circulation, the blood circulation. And, you know, it is the blood that is our life.
Wow.
It needs to flow from the heart to all parts of the body and then back to the heart and round like that. So when we interfere with it, when we limit its movement, it's like we are killing ourselves softly. And really, we don't want to do that. I'll quickly mention some of the shoes we wear as ladies eventually have issues. We end up having backaches because we are actually interfering with our anatomy. There's a way God created us. And some of the shoes we wear make us, you know, forward bent like this all the time. And when you change that posture, you're not the creator, but you've changed that posture to be able to be fashionable, then eventually you end up with physical problems. Now, we also talked about something to do with the spiritual aspect, and that I think really, really concerns me. It does, because we may want to be very good Christians, but we fill our plates with junk, with a lot of fat, with things that the body cannot utilize. These ones end up clogging our frontal lobe. It is from the frontal lobe that we are able to make decisions, that we are able to relate with our God. So when it is clogged, we are actually closing channels of communication. So God wants to talk to us, but we cannot listen.
Can't hear you
We have so much fat going on.
We are so full of these fatty things, of these fleshy things, of these things that are not healthy. So we cannot communicate effectively with God. And if we can't communicate with God, then where is our spirituality?
This is interesting. Is that why we doze in the afternoon at church?
Okay.
you know that afternoon, you always just like...
Yeah, people doze. And then a quick thing that I want to say in terms of eating, and I love this phrase. You know, we need to learn to eat for what we are going to do, not for what we have done. Many times we reward ourselves. We work so hard the whole day, and then at night, when the digestive system should be at rest, that's when we have our full plate of ugali and nyama and what other things. And immediately we do that, we go to bed. Now, we've loaded this system. We are supposed to let it rest when we are resting. And actually, what the design of God was that in the day, as you work, digestion also goes on. And in the night, when you're resting, then digestion ceases, and now something else takes over, and that is the healing. You see, that's healing. Healing takes place at that time. In fact, the healing hormones, we are told, are released in our bodies between 10 o'clock and about 4 o'clock at night when we are asleep. So if you keep to that routine, really health should be your portion. But we mess up these things because we do not do things right.
I feel like we need to have a whole series on this topic, right? Because there's so much we need to discuss. Renee, what have you learned?
I from the very beginning, my first takeaway, do what is right, do your best, and trust the rest to God. I need to stop worrying about when I will eat and start feeling healthy immediately. I will eat what is right according to what God has told me is right for my body, because He created it, and then leave the rest, the healing, to God.
That's now His. And He's faithful. He will do it.
Maybe you could just give us one last word of encouragement. We want to, you know, start being healthy. Encourage us on now, you know, you can do this. Such talks.
You know, it is very interesting. I know some of us now, as I look at people's eyes, they're like, whoa, now I can't eat chips, I can't eat this. But let me tell you, eating healthy can still be very, very exciting. And I think maybe that is another thing that we could handle in another session, where you do even your cookies, but free from the fermentation, and you use the natural things to do interesting things that you can eat. All that is possible. So you still can have a lot of fun in the kitchen, cooking and eating healthy, and trusting God to give you complete health.
Amen.
It is possible.
Amen. Amen. I'm so glad we have we've had this moment to discuss all this. I'm sure you guys have learnt a lot. Yes. Yeah, I have too. I really love chocolate fudge cake. Can I just have it one last time? Okay, I'm kidding. So we would like to wind it all up now. We definitely will discuss more about this in more episodes in a later time. I hope there's something you have learned today, that it is very possible for you as a young person to be healthy and enjoy it and not feel like this is a burden. Oh, I'm gonna miss out on chips and all this nice food that, is appealing to our tastes. And so I pray that you have this same prayer that we do, that God each and every day will help us wake up and make healthy decisions. Thank you so much for being here with us. You're watching Choice of a Young Voice. And my name is Caroline Muche. Until next time, see you.